But after Prohibition ended in 1933, well, starting in 1934, see, this is a quarter-acre lot right here. Well, then the guy who built this house was built in 1935 in the Great Depression, and the guy bought 3 houses and tore all 3 down to build this one. And the next door, that guy in 1936, he tore down 4 houses and built this one back here. Where did they get all that money? Oh, that booze money. But what happens is, you know, it's incredibly expensive to live here. The property taxes are outrageous. So people, like, this is probably the 4th or 5th family to ever live in this house, raise their kids, but eventually, when their children have children, they're going to move away. And somebody will either move into the house or they'll tear it down into something like that. Yeah. See, over here on the left is a real, like, Beverly Hills movie star mansion. But then up here on the corner on the right, this guy built a brand new house right here and apparently told his architect he wanted to live in a doctor's office. The architect says, well, I've got a dentist's waiting room. You can see that. I mean, look at that thing. It looks like an office complex. Brand new. This lot here was 3/4 of an acre, and it was empty for 6 years. There was nothing on it because they wanted $7.9 million just for the dirt. And apparently somebody's finally ponied up. And that's been going on for a while. Usually there's a plethora of for sale signs as families move in and out, but since COVID and it's so hard to get a house, people aren't selling them anymore. And even the empty lots that were going for outrageous fortunes are getting sold so they can build new houses here. Like this one. Beverly Hillbillies Mansion, I call this one. Y'all go back there, you hear? So in a lot of cases they do it because they want a cement pond, they want a swimming pool. These older houses don't have them, so this house is L-shaped right here. And they got a swimming pool right there. But like the older ones from the 30s, they just don't have swimming pools. On the right, this guy behind this wall, he's got a fabulous swimming pool. I've seen photographs of this guy's pool. It's really sweet. His house is weird though. His house looks like Hogwarts from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Looks like he's got bats in his belfry up there. So this was on the market in 2018 for $8.5 million, this house.
Not so bad.
If it was on the market today, it'd be 15. So the 2 lots next door have a brand new house on them. And
wow.
Again, that lot had been empty forever.
Look at that.
2 brand new houses. And then up here were 2 older houses. And I have been telling people for 8 years, one day I'll drive by and it'll be gone. And that happened last month. They took them both out.
Wow.
So I don't know if it's going to be one giant house or they're going to put 2 houses in. But whoever bought them ain't messing around. They've already got the lot all groomed and ready to go. And the same with this. You know, an empty lot that's built a giant house on. I had a guy from Australia, he asked me if they had maids in these houses. And I said, if you see a Mercedes in the driveway, it's probably the maid's car. I was being facetious. It's the car parked in front of the house. Nobody that lives in Highland Park owns a Nissan Altima or a Toyota Prius. That's Consuelo's call. Yeah, exactly. This is the first for sale sign I've seen in months. And it just went up. See, Consuelo's walking somebody else's baby. They love Range Rovers in this town. Back in 2019, we drove through here on the same route. The group I was with, and we counted 56 Range Rovers. Well, since COVID, they can't really get them anymore. So they're having to start, their leases are up. And so they're starting to have to buy these big GMC Cadillac Denali things. Which is fine by me, because they're made in Arlington, Texas. My mom always said, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it. That's tough. So I'm going to let y'all discuss this house on the right amongst yourselves. I mean, what are they looking at? If they were on a mountaintop in California or something, right? Like, what in the world are they looking at?
Yeah, they're beautiful.
No account for taste is what I say. The guy that owns the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, he lives in this town.
Oh, yeah?
Jerry Jones is a multi-bazillionaire and probably has no idea what he's paying in property taxes, but I do because I looked it up. Jerry Jones has to pay the town of Highland Park more than $45,000 in property taxes every month. Every month. $500,000 a year, y'all. But look, he's got a giant mansion on a big 6-acre estate. I don't feel bad for him at all. But even a family-sized home could be $3,500, $4,000, $8,000. Something this big on this corner lot could easily be like $12,000 a month just in taxes. And that's regardless of whether it's paid for or not. And that is why, as I say, not only do they have the finest school district, but it's also why everybody moves out. I mean, there are always going to be trust fund babies here, like, you know, the Meadows, and Crows, and those folks, but I don't know what any of these people are doing for a living. They're not tour guides, I'll tell you that. They build a house like that on tips. These guys, well, they're even taking the older houses and like redoing them. Yeah. So there's a little wooden house here on the left. I'm pretty sure it's only that little wooden house is only there because the same family's been in it the whole time. Otherwise, it'd have been knocked down. But they're probably forking out $3,500 a month in taxes. Then I've gotten to meet people from all over the world, and I have learned that Spanish people do not live in Spanish-style houses. Like this house across the street, there was this little girl from Barcelona. She looked like me. She was cute as a button. And I called this house here on the left, I call it Spanish-style, and she said, no, this is not España. I said, it's not? She goes, no, this is California. I said, well, you got a point. I still don't want to back it. Very. So let's go up this street. I haven't been up this street in years. I try to pick a different street, you know, once in a while, just because I'll go nuts if I don't. I don't know what they want for this corner lot, but I imagine it's going to be a lot of money because it's still empty. But then look what's next door to it. 13, like the little monsters.
Right?
Where is that? There's a brand new one. It's up here. Is it over there? There's one of these streets. It's a brand new house. It is monstrous. It's huge, and it's kind of the reason I quit coming this way because it's so big as they built it. All the construction crews and everything. It's so much easier to drive around through here on the weekend because all the gardeners are going.
Yeah.
Here, there's your hacienda for you. Ah, I know. It was on Miramar. Was it Miramar? I'm pretty sure it was Miramar. Maybe not. This is, so we're right next to the country club and the creek, and so the houses are pretty big. Once you get a little farther away, well, I would never say that we're small, but they're more modest, I would say. And usually on one lot at a time instead of being like multi-lot. And they're full of kids, you know, because it really is a town about the school district. So any holiday that you got to decorate for, oh, they're all in here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with Easter, they start with Easter. Halloween, listen, if y'all go trick-or-treat, this is full-size candy bar neighborhood. No fun size here.
They probably hire a decorator.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And even before Halloween is over, they've already started decorating for Christmas. Some of these people are spending tens of thousands of dollars on Christmas decorations every year. The whole town does it, everybody. So this is Beverly Drive, and if you go out to California on Beverly Drive, you're going to find a country club. And that's what we have here, the Dallas Country Club. So that one out there is called the Beverly Hills Country Club. They have something in common. They're not going to let us in. We ain't invited to this place. This is members only. Look at the size of that clubhouse in there. The only way for me to get invited would be like human resources. Would you like some champagne? Right. This is like if you can possibly get a membership there, it's going to cost you $25,000 a month in dues with a $5,000 buy-in. $350,000 a year just to cheat at golf in English shorts. It's the old boys network. So Mark Cuban used to live over here on the corner, but after his kids grew up, he moved out. He wanted to build a house he couldn't afford here. Sounds odd, but he built himself a 24,000 square foot house on Preston Road back in Dallas. He's got a basketball court, full-size regulation court. He's got a waterfall in his house. 24,000 square feet. He's got air conditioning too. I wonder what his electric bill is every month. It's going to be $9,000. So this is Preston Road, and from here north, all the streets are north, south, east, west. Back down where we old Dallas, they're all clear names. So this goes due north to Oklahoma, and it goes through several towns as it does. But up here, this is Highland Park. Right on the other side of the light is University Park. Here at Mockingbird, if you go down not even a mile, you'll come to the Southern Methodist University. It's where G.W. Bush's presidential library is located. And if you go the other way a couple of miles, you'll find Love Field, the airport, Southwest Airlines. So out in California, in Beverly Hills, they have that Rodeo Drive with all them fancy shops. Here in Texas in 1931, they got far more land available, and so they just made it into this shopping plaza. But it is Chanel and Cartier and Ralph Lauren and Starbucks. So it's all the same stores that you'd find, you know, in Beverly Hills. It's even the same. It's even the same architecture. And you know, Valentino and Deere. I don't know what it is. You can tell by my haircut I don't know nothing of fashion. I come through here looking at the cars.
Yeah.
So there's about 10 restaurants in here. 11 if you think Starbucks is a restaurant. And that's what most folks are here for, is the restaurants. But you know, there's like Jimmy Choo and Louis Vuitton, and all them fancy finagled places. And there's the Village Theater since 1931, the movie house. And right here in the corner is a shoe store called Jimmy Choo. Y'all ever go to Jimmy Choo? I'm pretty sure they don't have anything that'll fit me. But I had this Australian couple several years ago. They just got married and they were on their honeymoon here. And we stopped at the Starbucks up the sidewalk all the way up. And the fella came out of the restroom and he says, "Have you seen me wife?" And I said, she's standing in front of Jimmy Choo. And he took off running down the sidewalk and he's yelling, "She's got my credit card!" That's a true story. So we got her back to the Starbucks. We got her in the van. She'd already wore him out. And we came around the corner here. I gotta kind of make a weird turn back the right way. As we came around the turn here, there's another shoe store up here on the right. And when she saw it, oh my, she freaked out. She got up here, dug her nails into his arm and went, "Louis Vuitton!" And he looked at me and he goes, "Thank God I caught her at Jimmy Choo." So down here we got the Pacific Theater, and oh my God, look at the size of this Rolls Royce. What the? It's got to weigh like 6 tons. That goes like stink about 700 horsepower. That is a big Rolls Royce. Earlier in the day, like on the Saturday afternoons, that's when they'll bring their like exotics out. You know, the Ferraris and the McLarens. And I've even seen a Bugatti in there. Yeah, Mercedes are just done there. Yeah, but it's got to be a nice Saturday because, you know, to get an oil change in a Bugatti is $12,000. So we drive for a mile and put it back in the garage. So, you know, just as we get away, the houses are smaller. Some of the original ones are still here. Houses on the ends in Highland Park, these corner lots, are double the price of any other lot on the place because you can get to your garage from the side. If you're living in the middle of the block, there's a garage, or excuse me, there's a driveway in the middle of your yard. There's a garage in your backyard with an apartment above it. A lady asked me a few weeks ago if that's where the maids stay. And I said, no, that's where you put teenagers. Out over the garage. And so there's so many new ones in the garage. Let's see. Let's do Versailles here. Got a French lady on. I called this Versailles. She got quite upset. It's Versailles. I said, not Texas. It's Versailles. Oh, they're redoing this one. It's all the older houses, you know, from the 20s and 30s. Then you tear down 2 of them and do this. Man, pardon me. Highland Park always does this to me. So many trees in here. All this ragweed. In fact, that's a very firm rule. Like if you buy a house or a lot rather that has a tree on it, you can't move the tree. You have to have a special permit from the city. They're probably not going to give it to you. Otherwise, so many people move in and out of this place every year. They would take down every tree every time. So the trees are controlled. And this house across the street, but this guy built this house about 5 years ago. He bought the cottage behind it, but there was a giant oak tree in the lot, and he couldn't tear it down, so he built half a house. And I looked at that little half house, and I was like, that is the best mother-in-law apartment I've ever seen. She got her own garage and everything. Right? And yes, got a lot of big to it. And then we have the gazebo and the fountain and the little park right here. This has been here since 1931, I believe. All the wedding photos taken in that number. And then this guy, he's the one that wanted to live in a dentist's office as well.
Same architect.
Right. I've been driving by that house for years, pointing at it and laughing. And a couple of years ago, I saw the guy that owned it standing in that little glass door by the front door, and he was just shooting me daggers with his eyes. And the weird thing was, is he was in his own house and he was wearing a mask. And I thought, well, maybe he really is a dentist. So there are just a lot of, well, you can tell there's no HOA here telling you what your house may or may not look like, right? I think basically it's just, if you're not, as long as you leave the tree alone, you can get away with anything. How about Lorraine? I haven't done a Lorraine in a few weeks. Lorraine has a number of new houses on it, so it's hard to get down. Brand new house. Brand new house. Basements in Texas are rare. It's very expensive to build a basement here. The earth can contract and expand in Texas up to 18 inches a year, depending on whether it's rained or not. And so if your basement is not engineered to withstand those stresses, the next time your house collapses. So a foundation that's properly engineered could be $70,000, $75,000 just for the foundation of the house. So that there's slab foundations everywhere. But more and more of the new houses, the people that are building them are putting in the basements because they're using them for parking garage. So they can park under the house and then have a lot for the whole house to swim. So there's been a lot of that going on. Digging down, reinforcing $1 million foundations. When we went by the Opera House on the Arts District down there last week, they were already decorating Christmas trees down there. And that's because those companies that do it, well, they're going to be very, very busy from now on out here. I'm pretty sure they pay better than the city does. And these guys, so all through November and everything, they're going to decorate. Yeah, see, they're building a basement with a park garage in it. They're going to decorate in December. At the beginning of December, they're going to have a lighting ceremony, and then there'll be horse-drawn carriage rides through town. And it's the whole town. Everybody's doing it. And the bigger the house, the bigger the display. Like these folks here will have a big Grinch and Cindy Lou Who in the front yard. Wow, that went up quick. That went up very, very quick.